Hi everyone, today we are talking about Drag Race Thailand Season 3, Episode 7. This episode is called Yes and. I'm also joined by my little cat. I think he's just chilling. This episode was kind of a weird one. It's an improv challenge with some light direction, and they have to use buzzwords. What in the theater, kid? If you have ever participated in any type of live theater, they'll get you around in a big circle and they'll tell you, make up a story. Maybe the director will say, we're driving in a car, when suddenly I say, oh my god, look over there. And then the next person has to pick up. And the idea is to get you improving so that you start working well with your cast. It's really awkward, it's uncomfortable, it's not fun in any way. It's probably one of the worst little theater things that ever happened. So that made this episode interesting because it's an improv challenge with some direction, but it seems a little late in the season for something like this. I would have much rather have seen this maybe really early on, and then that ball challenge could have been here, and that would have been interesting to see. I'm still really gagged that Siam is out of the competition, and the girls are starting to think maybe they were too hard on her. Bye, buddy. They're thinking that maybe they made Siam's experience in Drag Race miserable. Now bad feelings? You can't feel bad this late into the game. Y'all said what you said, you did what you did. The girl went home crying. It's what it is. You gotta just do better next time. And Gigi is saying in her confessionals that she doesn't care if she wins? What is this craziness? She just wants to make it to top 3. That's it. That's her only aspiration. If you're competing in something and you don't want to win, you are not in the competition for the right reason. Like, I don't even understand that mentality. Even in competitions that I was competing in drag that I was feeling over, that I was like, this is rigged, this person's clearly gonna win, I have no chance of winning this thing. I still wanted to win the whole thing. I wanted to win it out of spite. I knew I wasn't going to, but I wanted it. The only times that I ever felt like, I don't want this, I don't want to do it, I left. I didn't waste anybody's time by seeing more of my drag that they didn't like, and I took care of myself. And this girl just wants to skate to the end, and she didn't get to. And I was so glad about that. The mini challenge is more quick drag BS, and I can't stand quick drag. Why are we doing that so much this season? It's really not necessary. Why are we giving them 15 minutes to prep wigs on wigs on wigs? To do a reveal off with performances? Wigs on wigs on wigs is just not as exciting when you're already expecting it to happen. And then on top of it, a lot of them phoned it in because they're just tired. And they mentioned that they are exhausted. They don't even know what to do next because they don't have any energy reserves. And I've been mentioning this for weeks. They do not seem like they prepared for this season. They prepared for energy levels of 1 and 2 Thailand Drag Race. And as far as they know, nothing is even going to be changing about the format of even the editing. Because when Godland was asking why they wanted to be on Thailand's Drag Race, she even said Thailand XOXO, riffing off of the original promo song. So they really came in thinking this was going to be a different game, and for all of these weeks they've had to refocus their energy to what this competition has actually required, and I still don't think half of them are there. So in this challenge, I thought the first couple of girls were a little rough. Godland was the most fun, doing that roll with the wig coming off, even though it was a little scraggly. And then ZP did the same thing, which was less inventive and not as smooth or clean. And I want to give a very special shout out to the one pit crew member who just mashed his balls into that underwear and stood there like he was a royal guard in the UK the entire time. The other one was at least looking at them and having a good time, clearly understood what he was signing up for. The one on the right, I'm convinced at this point, was a straight man who had no idea that he was going to be humiliated on TV like this. Or at the very least, objectified on TV like this. So he just monster mashed everything in there, giving it no shape or anything to be as unsightly as possible, and stood there and waited for it to be over. And then Nane did this really fun confetti idea, riffing off of Sasha Velour, and objectively won that challenge. Because she wins, she gets to choose who she wants to work with in the improv challenge, as well as assign everybody else pairings. She chooses ZP, gives Gigi to Godland, leaving Spicy with Frankie. And at this point, Pangina assigns all their roles and what they're going to do for their skit. They have a little over 2 minutes that they can do this improv, and they're gonna get their buzzwords off the teleprompter. Nana and ZP got what I think was the weakest assignment, and that was to portray two news anchors reading the news. News anchors just aren't funny. They never are. We've seen it again and again since all the way back to Drag Race Season 3. News anchors are very serious, and the way that people portray them is very serious. We rarely see drag queens just have a good time with that and figure out a way to make the news anchor role exciting and big. And this challenge was no exception. This is going to go down as one of the worst executed challenges probably of all time. Because on top of it, it was so short. It was not funny. It was so quick that they included a 8-minute untucked. There has been no untucked this season, and they actually put one in this time. That's how weak this challenge was. It wasn't even a proper challenge. This could have been a mini. The wigs on wigs on wigs could have been the main challenge. It could have easily been flopped where they do this improv thing maybe much earlier in the season, and then the wigs on wigs on wigs was some type of main challenge where they have to perform an entire number and then get the wigs to come off. Maybe it even could have been a lip sync battle of some kind. This was just a lot of talking. It wasn't funny at all. Gigi and Godland were assigned 2 drag queens going on a very first date. I thought this had a lot of potential, but at the end of the day, they didn't do anything with it. I don't understand a lot of the open mouth breathing. I did not understand the constant swaying. There's this thing that people do when they think they're being sexy, is they move. Because a hoe never gets cold, I guess, so you're always in movement. And these girls were swaying the whole challenge. Like they were being blown by a wind machine in both directions. And their bodies were made out of rubber. They clearly did not want to work with each other. Godland seemed like she was just trying to hype herself up to have fun in the challenge, where Gigi was saying she just didn't want to work with Godland. And it's so clear how checked out Gigi is and should have been gone several episodes ago. It was really awkward, neither one of them had energy, and they were just doing nothing. They gave nothing. And Spicy and Frankie had the best prompt, which was 2 old rivals who meet up at a funeral. So they played it off like Frankie was the wife, and Spicy was the old lover. I loved both of them together. Frankie's look was insane, and I really loved that they almost had this like Jenny Lorenzo, abuelas doing XYZ energy. They had the most to work off of because being old rivals and being old, being at a funeral generates a lot of static and tension already within the prompt. And then on top of it, they were just funny. They had so much to work off of because of what they were doing. And you know what? I have been Spicy's #1 supporter to go home all season, but she turned the party this week. I did not agree with any of the criticisms that she was just reading things off the teleprompter, because none of the other groups were doing anything. None of them. They were all bad. At least Spicy was doing the assignment and doing it well. So let's get to the runway where Pangina did an updated Pikachu look. I actually really liked this. I thought it was fun. I like the skirting of copyright anytime we can do it. And the runway theme was called The Iconic, which I did not understand until they actually started coming out. ZP did Madonna. The eyebrows were so strong. I actually liked the makeup more than I liked anything else. I didn't really like the costume. It looked like a faithful recreation, but to me it looked a little low budget in scale. Godland did Marsha P. Johnson, and I was obsessed with this look. It was such a lovely tribute, and there's not enough conversation in the gay community about how much trans women have contributed to our society and our culture, as well as just getting us rights as queer people. So doing this tribute was really special, and I can't think of many Marsha P. Johnson references that we've had on the show on the runway. Spicy did one of the funniest things to me, and that was pick the most deep cut reference possible. And that was digging into a 2005 showgirl look that Kylie Minogue did at a concert. Pangina knew this reference, and I love that for her. The look was really solid though. Calling that look a B-grade version of Kylie was kind of crazy when ZP was also on that runway. I have wanted Spicy to go home for the last 5 episodes. This was not the episode that Spicy dropped the ball. This was quite easily the best that she's done all season, and actually switched up her silhouette and wasn't wearing mesh or net in weeks. Gigi did Rihanna from 2014 Met Gala. Rihanna, groundbreaking. I was very uninspired by this look because we've already seen a Rihanna look this season from her. And I don't know, give me something new. It was a whatever look. She looked like she didn't want to be there. I don't need to say anymore. And Nane also did Madonna, which I thought was interesting, but she did a Vogue cover. I thought her performance was the best on the runway. I loved her fan. I loved her spinning it up into the air and catching it multiple times. I love that these judges, as the season is going on, are asking them to repeat stunts on the runway. I think a week ago when they asked Frankie to keep doing that hand thing that she did, this is more what I wanted to see from Thailand. This episode, in many ways, is what I liked about Thailand. And it's sad to me that it took so long in the season for them to kind of warm up and get back to what their roots are. And finally, Frankie did Karl Lagerfeld. Despite Karl being a rotten person, I thought this was actually a pretty solid look. And after this last Met Gala theme, I thought this was pretty on trend for where the world was fashion-wise when this would have been being filmed. And it was a solid look. So ZP is then called safe. This is bullshit. If we're gonna be departing from the format so severely by choosing a top 5 for several weeks, y'all need to do that all season long and only do top 5s. This top 6, top 6, top 6, 5, 5, 5 is BS, and it's a way to secure people going into the finale. Maybe ZP did passable in the performance and the runway, but it was a low passable. And ZP absolutely should have been judged. And there's no reason they sent her off to go sit and untucked for an hour while they got deliberated. Ridiculous. I'm so upset with this season's inconsistency. And I'm the only one that's mad about it. No one else cares. Literally no one cares about this season except for me being mad about it. And then in Untucked, they had freaking red solo cups. Is there no budget this season? Frankie rightfully wins the challenge, and the bottom 2 is Nane and Gigi. I thought all of these were correct, although I would have maybe put ZP in the bottom with Gigi instead. I thought Nane's runway was superior, and also like, Godland was awful in the challenge. It should have maybe either been Godland and Gigi or ZP and Gigi. I don't think that Nane deserved to be in the bottom 2 lip syncing. The song is Music Lover, and I liked Nane's starting with the confetti. I thought it was a nice callback to the very beginning of the episode where she used confetti in order to win that mini challenge. And I love nothing more than a callback. The judges haven't seen this, but Pangina has, and we as the viewers have. It's a nice reference. And I'm gonna say something that might be hateful. The way that Gigi painted her face kind of made her lips look crooked this week. And the way she was lip syncing made me giggle because she looked like Kathy Najimy in Hocus Pocus. She was like lip syncing like this. But I think it was just the way that she was painted. But she well-deserved went home, and honestly, I'm so grateful to see it. Now I just need Spicy to go home. Next week is a makeover challenge, and Nikki Doll is gonna be a judge. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. At this point, I'm expecting Spicy to go home, but I mentioned a few weeks ago, I have this huge worry that Frankie's gonna go. Frankie is just so good, hasn't really had a major stumble all season, and I'm worried that that will be a shocking surprise out. That they will say, we really want Spicy Sunshine in the finale because they seem to love this bitch. And I'm worried that she'll get a push to the next episode and it'll be like ZP and Frankie in the bottom. And like, Nane is absolutely going to the finale. There's no way she's not gonna rock a makeover episode. I'm just so worried that Frankie's gonna go. And I'm not gonna be ready for that if it happens. But we will see, and I'm so glad this season's almost over. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see y'all on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you wanna see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.